This week on TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend, the Jaguars look to get back on track after losing to the Colts. The season is far from over, but the Jags have a lot to improve if they want to beat the Titans. We visit the Cadillac Film Room with head coach Doug Marrone to break down the Titans' playmakers. Plus,
it was kind of a mixture of boredom and kind of seeing if I could kind of start like a business in a way.
We share Miles Jack's hobby that has turned into a business. All that and even more ahead on Jaguars Weekend.
This is TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. TIAA Bank, created to serve, built to perform. And Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save.
You know, we are 4-6, that is the situation, but we can't win, 6 games at once. We're going to have our opportunity to look at this game, improve from this game next week, and then we're going to prepare for the next game. It's as simple as that.
The veteran Nick Foles knows despite the last 2 results, the season is far from over. Hello and welcome to TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. I'm Ashlyn Sullivan. We are more than halfway through the season, and the last thing fans want to hear is their team is going back to the fundamentals. Right now, that's the reality of the Jaguars. Doug Marrone and his coaching staff will stress the importance of stopping the run on defense and scoring more points on offense. This week, they hope going back to the basics will lead to a win in Nashville. The Jaguars gave up 264 yards on the ground against the Colts. The Jaguars' identity is a great defense, and they didn't look like that in Indianapolis. They have the parts on defense to stop the run. Now, they have to prove they can do it every week.
As of right now, we got to play more consistent. Right now, we got high energy, we athletic team, speed, fast. We just got to be more consistent. And I know teams are watching us saying that, we go into halftime 10-7, we go into, third quarter, close games. We just got to make sure we stay on top of it.
The defense has a challenge on their hands in Nashville, stopping one of the toughest backs in the league, Derrick Henry.
You got to smack that man. You got to, you got to hit him. You got to bring him. You got to bring a lot of people to the ball. You know what I mean? It's, you got to play like how you play in the backyard. You got to hit him.
Henry is tied for 4th in the league with 8 touchdowns. The defense will need to stop him to fly home with a win. On offense, the Jags need to find some consistency. There were high expectations for Nick Foles against the Colts that weren't met. His teammates are confident the quarterback will take the next step this week.
You're asking a guy to step in week 11, after having a serious injury, and asking them to, take us to the promised land. And, he has those expectations for himself, too. After having this week under his belt, second week, I think he's going to, continue to lead us in the right direction.
4-6 isn't where this team expected to be in late November. Jacksonville is unhappy with the results, but don't press the panic button just yet. The season is not over.
I'll let everyone else freak out. I'm not going to freak out. I'm going to continue to come to work. I'm going to continue to believe in my teammates. I don't come in here and say, it's just going to happen. We put in a lot of work, and, coaches are, working hard towards the game plan. We go out there and practice to fine-tune it. It's just one of those things where it's just got to be ingrained in who you are.
You heard Nick Foles. The season is young. Everything is fine. Do not hit the panic button quite yet as we welcome in Brian Sexton and John Ogier. But one thing we can panic about is the lack of the running game we saw in Indianapolis. Only 9 carries that game. You hung your hat the entire season on having a solid running game, and it was absent last week.
Well, there were many circumstances that went into that, and I think the second half has been a little overblown in terms of getting away from the run. I'm not sure you can really fault Flip for not running in the second half. Yes, they need to run more early. They need to figure out a way to get Fournette the ball more. They need to stay on the field on offense and play better run defense to have that as an opportunity. They didn't mean to get away from him like that.
John, I think when we look at this objectively, though, you're talking about a team that doesn't have a prominent tight end. There's no blocking fullback. This isn't the same 2017 run-the-ball Jaguars. They're going through a transformation here. They still want to be balanced for whatever that means. But I think with John DeFilippo as the offensive coordinator, balance is going to be 55-45, and he's going to lean towards the pass because you pay the coordinator to pay the quarterback, away you go.
So, talking about the quarterback, Foles didn't meet expectations. We all expect him to go in there and light it up, save the season, Mr. Wonderful, and he didn't live up to that. But that's also okay.
Well, I was one of those guys who was really excited about him, too. And John DeFilippo last week tried to tamper down people's expectations. He'd missed 10 weeks. Now, that being said, do something this week, right? I mean, if that was your one chance at game speed to iron things out, hope you got it ironed out.
They believe that the end of that game, Foles started to get into a little bit of a rhythm. Both Flip and Marone have mentioned that. You've got to see a better rhythm. Too many missed reads, too much into double coverage. He's got to play better.
If they're 55-45 pass, he has to play much better.
Yes, and hoping that the offense just finds the end zone more this week and scores more points as a whole. We have much more coming up here on Jaguars Weekend. The Jaguars could be considered the stars of Jacksonville. We forget the real stars are in our backyard at Naval Air Station, Jacksonville. We visit Duval's heroes next. Plus, the Jaguars have struggled stopping the run this season, and Tennessee has a star running back. Coming up in the Cadillac Film Room, we look at Derrick Henry with head coach Doug Marone.
We understand that when we stop the run, we're a tough team to beat. But when teams run for like that, like they ran today, we're going to lose. And it's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
The Jaguars have allowed a 100-yard rusher the past 2 weeks. They know that is not a winning formula. Welcome back to TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. I'm Ashlyn Sullivan. Every time the Jaguars have allowed a 100-yard rusher, they've lost. It's as simple as that. We all remember that 99-yard run the last time the Jaguars played in Tennessee. Derrick Henry is a talented running back. And in the Cadillac Film Room, our very own Jeff Lageman and Doug Marone break down the Titans' big back.
Doug, you guys have a tremendous challenge this week against the Tennessee Titans, and a little bit different team that you're going to be facing compared to the first time out, but one thing that hasn't changed, Derrick Henry.
That's right. And, he creates a great challenge, especially, we didn't play the run obviously well last week, and same type of situation where you have a back that's an outstanding runner, really tough to tackle. A lot of people go low, and you find out they go too low a lot of times, and he winds up breaking them. So, we've talked all week about getting off blocks, defeating blocks, and getting obviously people to the ball.
No motivation needed there. Your team struggled against the run, and the pass struggled against him. The tight end position, a little bit different. Jonnu Smith has taken over a bigger role. Delaney Walker's had an injury to the ankle. This is a good football player. It's really stepping up.
He really is stepping up. I think, they have 4 good tight ends that they play with. Again, we feel that Delaney will be back this week. So, again, the challenge comes up, and now, Smith has been an excellent player for him.
And the quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. Marcus Mariota was known for having great mobility, but hey, look, Ryan Tannehill can do the same thing. This is a game-winning drive against Kansas City. He's got man coverage. He sees a little bit of an opening, and there he goes.
Well, I go back a long time with Ryan, when I was in Buffalo, when he was in Miami, we played against him. And then, a lot of people probably don't remember, because he's been in the league now for a while, that he was a wide receiver, at Texas A&M and converted. So he has the ability to extend plays, and he has the ability to take off and run, which makes him a dual threat.
Well, and once they scored the go-ahead touchdown, which we're going to look at right here, he had the scramble for the 2-point conversion to make him go up by 3. So, and he's a tough guy, lowered his shoulder there at that 2-point play.
Absolutely. I think, at any time you got to keep him in the pocket. And then the one thing where he's really improved from, the time that I was in Buffalo and he was in Miami is his accuracy. I mean, he's really throwing the ball well. He's throwing it into tight windows. The receivers are doing a good job, whether it's man coverage or zone, getting themselves in position to make the play.
Well, that one's about as accurate as you could get right there. A tremendous challenge for your football team, because when you go to Nashville, look, history shows that the Jaguars haven't played well. The last time the Jaguars have won in Nashville is 2013. Your guys are looking to change that script.
Absolutely.
Good luck, Jug, and best of luck.
Great. Thank you, Jeff.
We're continuing to count down the Jaguars' All-25 list. Next up is a guy who proved all the doubters wrong. He was a 12th round pick that turned into a star here in Jacksonville. Number 7 on the Jaguars' All-25 list, wide receiver Keenan McCardell.
The Jaguars All-25, presented by Sharpie.
Number 7, Keenan McCardell.
If I've ever covered anybody who squeezed the absolute most out of his talent, it was Keenan McCardell.
Looking for Keenan in the end zone. Keenan leaps, makes the catch. Was he in? Oh, how do you not call that a touchdown? He made the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Jaguars!
Wide receiver Keenan McCardell started his career in football from obscurity. But after 13 years with 6 seasons in Jacksonville, he would finish his NFL journey statistically one of the best of all time.
Keenan played the game like he was the #1 overall pick, but no one knew his name for the first couple of years of his career. He's like so many guys who, get a cup of coffee in the league and get a chance, but he was tough and smart and ran great routes and was really committed to making it in the game.
No doubt about it. I mean, he was also ran backup wide receiver in Cleveland who came there and became a star.
McCardell was a reception machine. He ranks 13th all-time in NFL history in that category.
Keenan McCardell could go and make just about any kind of catch that you needed, and he was Mr. Chain Mover.
The ultimate possession receiver, yet possession receivers aren't supposed to get deep. He could separate. We saw it here, saw it in Tampa, that for a guy that wasn't super fast, boy, did he have 2 or 3 gears that he could get deep.
But what defined McCardell's career was his ability to take a hit and get back up again.
He took so many shots in the middle of the field. There were times when you looked at Keenan and you go, I don't think he's getting up. He'd pop right back up. That's what he was. He was tough.
That toughness gave McCardell his nickname, and thunder will always be linked with lightning.
McCardell, they think of thunder. That's what they think of. The complementary guy to the speed guy on the outside and Jimmy Smith, thunder and lightning.
They were the perfect complement for each other. You had one who could go outside and do all the damage on the outside, and then you had one who was outstanding in the middle of the field and could run all the routes.
Individually, McCardell is one of only 48 players in NFL history with 10,000 career receiving yards.
Jimmy Smith was the best receiver on this team, and he was one of the best in the NFL. Jimmy Smith should be a Hall of Famer. Nowhere in Keenan's mind was Jimmy Smith better than Keenan.
He is back in Jacksonville, passing on his passion for the game to the next generation of Jaguars receivers.
When I say he loved the game, he loved every aspect of it. So that he became a coach, absolutely no shock. And in fact, in watching him on the sidelines, it wouldn't surprise me if he's not an offensive coordinator in the near future.
For the course of his career, he finished with incredible numbers and deserves to be remembered as certainly one of the great players in this franchise history. He needs to be one of the next guys to go in the pride of the Jaguars.
Keenan McCardell is the 7th best Jaguar of all time.
Coming up on TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend, we get creative with linebacker Myles Jack. He shares with us how his hobby turned into his own small business. Next on Jaguars Weekend.
Going through the whole process, seeing their kind of daily routine and just the training they have to go through, it's pretty intense and pretty impressive.
It only took a few hours for the mayor of Jacksonville to realize the impact the military has on the country and Jacksonville. We're back on TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. It takes years of hard work to make it to the NFL. Fans are constantly in awe of the players' strength, size, and commitment to the game. But we should be paying more attention to the work that goes into being in the armed forces. The Jaguars found out the commitment required to be in the Navy during this week's Baptist Health feature.
How you doing, man?
Good, how are you,
Calais,
man?
pleasure.
Good to have you. Thanks for coming over,
Mike,
guys.
how you doing? Calais, pleasure. The guys, work really hard to make sure they keep us safe. And, I feel appreciated, very appreciative of just the crew in here and showing us around and welcoming us into their world. What's going on, guys? How we doing? It's probably way bigger than I thought it was going to be. I was surprised how big the plane was, let alone just some of the, the weaponry that goes on it. How much do they weigh? 645. Squat that. But everything else, this whole plane, the whole system is way bigger and way different than I thought it would be. But I'm very, very impressed with it.
This is a grill for a torpedo. Basically, they can pull down, drop the torpedo out of the weapons bay so it has a clear range from the rest of the aircraft before going down and prosecuting a submarine.
I really would like to fly this one day, man. So the simulator was doing way too much. Because I was definitely
Yeah, you really just need just a little bit.
seeing like their kind of daily routine and like the training they have to go through. It's pretty intense and pretty impressive. Yeah, I told them I'm ready to go, man. You can just hook me up. I'll take it out. I don't need no torpedoes or nothing, though. I just want to go take it for a spin. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for your service, man. There we go. See, this is a fan. I can tell, man.
Don't believe none of them. I have to fight with them every day.
Yeah.
Oh, you a Jag fan? Yes.
That's right. There we go, man. One more time, man. Yeah. You know, everybody here I admire. You know, and so like when you get that kind of like support from people who are just like top quality people, you know, and they really like, you know, believe in you and support you, you know, it's pretty dope, you know. One of the guys said he believes it's 6-0 from here on out. I said, I like your style, man. I was trying to go make it happen.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Hey, good luck in Tennessee, all right?
Appreciate it, man.
There,
Yes,
sir.
Oh, we're going to rough them up.
Next week, the Jaguars will honor the military for their salute to service game in Jacksonville when they take on the Bucs. When you think of an NFL player, you don't think of someone who would make candles. But Myles Jack is a different type of NFL player. He's taken a unique hobby and turned it into a booming business here in Jacksonville.
Fires middle of the field. Intercepted by Myles Jack. Myles is running it back. But a terrific interception by Myles Jack to stall the Bengals' drive.
It was kind of a mixture of boredom and kind of seeing if I could kind of start like a business in a way. So kind of a little bit of entrepreneurship, and then really it was kind of a mixture of fundraising as well. So kind of those three elements kind of all created this.
I started to get serious about launching my candle business when I saw the Microsoft Surface commercial featuring Michael Griffin and Brian Arakpo's Cupcake Shop.
I'm Michael Griffin.
I'm Brian Arakpo.
We played football together for the Titans.
Now we own a cupcake shop.
I just self-taught myself. I probably watched 3 or 4 different videos, and then just through trial and error, that's pretty much how I got myself here. Voila. Just let that sit for a couple hours. Got yourself a nice candle. I'm kind of OCD when I'm making them, so I want to get the wick right in the middle. I like particular colors. I want it to smell a certain way, look a certain way. So, you know, I have to work with fulfilling orders, being on time, giving customers what they want, staying in constant communication with people via email, which there's been times where I'll put it on my Instagram that I have, Handmade44, and people will DM me and say they want to meet me up at the stadium. So it gives me a chance to meet the fans, take pictures with them if they want me to sign something, and at the same time I can provide them with a candle. So I think it kind of makes it more personable and allows me to really meet the fans and just chop it up with them and talk to them. It's definitely made me appreciate kind of just running a small business like that on a smaller scale compared to other companies and stuff like that.
Up next, we look ahead to see how the Jaguars can force themselves back into the playoff conversation. That's coming up on TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend.
Jaguars Weekend is presented in part by TIAA Bank, created to serve, built to perform, and Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save.
Let's get this money. Let's go get that money. Let's go get this money. Hey, help me up, 9-7.
D.D. Westbrook mic'd up in Indianapolis. Check out all the mic'd up features weekly on Jaguars.com as we welcome in Brian and John once again. I can't believe I'm bringing this up again this week, but the run defense gave up 264 yards in Indianapolis. We've talked about it at length this week, but you have to, because if you continue to have a run defense like that, you're not going to win another game this season. No, you're going to go in 6 if you do that. I don't think they will. All week, the emphasis has been on getting off blocks, getting in. When you're not off blocks, then you're missing out on the gaps. We talked about gap control all season. Now it's a matter of being able to get off the blocks to get into the gaps. I think several players said it best.
It's a matter of want to. It's a matter of go get it. Stop talking about it. Just do it. Same things we said last week, but it's got to happen.
Help is not on the way. You got to do it with what you got. So, I've been banging this drum, but let's be 50% better this week. Let's not expect that they're going to go from 264 to 92, right, and be near the top of the league. Just cut it in half and give yourself a chance to score some points on offense.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself in a position where the offense is never on the field because the other team is on the field the whole game. And the Titans can do that to you with Derrick Henry.
So, guys, we've talked about fixing the run defense and getting back to the run with Leonard Fournette. Do you think it's fixed in a week?
I think the run defense will get better. They'll try more with Fournette. Early on in this game is going to be key because it will set the tone because you know how the Titans are going to play.
I don't know that it will be fixed, but it will be better in both cases. And if Nick Foles then is better on top of that, they'll have a chance to win.
All right, the Jaguars looking for their 5th win of the season in Nashville. We'll have much more next week on the next Jaguars Weekend.